With the US election happening later on this year, to the secret explosion of crypto that no one seems to be talking about, and what the Bank of England have recently denounced, this is going to be a very exciting year in 2024 for your money. This year alone, we've already seen some insane gains. I've seen 50% gains on some of the things I hold, and also a 800% gain. I'm not even joking, I'll show it to you in this video. First up, let's chat about the US election and how that is going to affect your money. Although the US election is a big one and it's the most important one, we the best! And there'll be actually 65 elections happening throughout the entire world this year. And that's actually pretty monumental. That doesn't happen again until 2048. Whether you want the Democrats to win or the Republicans to win, I don't really care. That's not what my main aim of this channel is. It's more about the finance and politics, but also Trump would be hilarious if he got in. Not politics-wise, I'm not talking anything like that. It just would be funny. China. In the short term, the market can do anything. We all know this. No one can predict the stock market apart from me, obviously. I've actually been called the great-grandchild of Warren Buffett before, you know, just saying. But investors do like to make bets in certain industries because certain industries will benefit more depending on who's in power in the US. For example, if you take the Democrats, a lot of green, solar, stocks like that, they will go up much more. Or if you've got Republicans like Trump in, then it'll be more coal-based as they back those. So as we start to see more data come through the elections and the votes and what it's looking like, you'll see more of those stock pumps happen, and it'll be in different areas. So if you want to try and front run it, you can, but you're probably not going to do that, so I recommend you don't. Also, if you backdate the S&P 75 years over all the elections, you'll see that there's only 4 significantly or statistically significant actual outcomes you can see in the short term. As you can see here, the Democrats, if they are in the House control in both scenarios, then you do pretty well over the 3-month period, and it's the same with the Republicans, but you need basically a split of both if you're going to do well short term. Where's the biggest opportunity in 2024 going to be? Well, no one knows 100%, but I'm going to put my stick in the sand and I'm going to say it's going to be crypto 100%. Well, we've already seen Bitcoin hit all-time highs. I mean, most people are in profit in crypto already this year alone. As of currently recording this video, it's definitely dropped off its highs. I think it's like 10 or 15% it's dropped off, but it's still, I mean, it's already reached it. And weirdly, it's not really getting much traction in the media. There's been a lot of money flowing into crypto, and yet it is still the very early doors. Anecdotally, I've also seen some massive gains come from crypto. It has been insane to watch this happen over the last couple months. It's very much like the 2020 ones that we were in back then, but this one is definitely feeling a little bit different because there's institutional money that's now been invested into the market. For example, in Solana, we actually made 800% gains. I think they've come off a little bit at the moment, but that is insane. Personally, I think there'll be a cooling off period for a couple months. I reckon in June / later on in the year, we'll start seeing it really take up, and this will be kind of similar to the stock to flow model we can see already. You may be wondering, why do I think there's actually loads more room to grow? They've already hit all-time highs. Surely it's just not going to go much further than this. And like I said earlier, there's a lot of institutional money. Crypto really hasn't felt it yet, but the first spot ETF for Bitcoin got announced earlier this year, and it was kind of a non-event. Nothing really happened that crazy with it. This will allow a lot of institutional money to flow into Bitcoin, and Bitcoin and crypto as a whole is not a very big market. It's only at like 2 trillion at the peak it's ever been at. Also, with the Bitcoin ETF, there will be other ETFs like the ETH ETF that will probably be announced and like put into place pretty soon. Again, flooding more money into the market as you can get Bitcoin and Ethereum on spot ETFs now. Only is that the institutional money a catalyst for it. There's also the halving that's happening this year, and if you see from the stock to flow model, as soon as we have a halving, the next year after that goes absolutely insane. Crypto world is very different to any other asset. You are not in this together. It doesn't work like that. If you take out the S&P is still going up. Crypto is not the same way. Crypto very much follows Bitcoin. Even if you're not investing in Bitcoin, it follows it to a T. I'll show you here with some of the charts. You can see an altcoin versus Bitcoin. It mirrors it almost. Also, pro tip with crypto, don't be a melon and leave your money on exchanges. When it does sell off, and later on this year, maybe even in 2025, you will be the melon holding your bags and trying to sell and not being able to because you had it on Coinbase and they stopped selling. I don't want to tell you what to do with your money, but I wouldn't recommend you keep them on exchanges. Even Coinbase, which is a really relatively safe exchange, is still not a good idea, especially if you're doing like dodgy exchanges like FTX and ones similar to that. That was a terrible idea. Keep it on cold storage. Plus, personally, I just love the idea of cold storage. You have your own money. You are in control of your money. You can send it and transfer it and convert it however you want, and you don't need to ask permission from a bank or from platforms to talk to other platforms. Now, what gains can you expect in crypto? It's very different depending on the coin. Bitcoin probably won't do a Bitcoin's not doing a 10x from here. It's just not. If you're happy with a 2x, Bitcoin is probably the move for you. If you need more of like a 5 or a 10x or something like that, or you're putting a little bit of money in and you don't mind losing it like that, you could maybe go for an altcoin. They will deliver those gains. Bitcoin won't do a 5x or a 10x from here. It's just not happening. Zooming back in more into the UK specifically, we're going to look at the Bank of England or what it's recently done with interest rates and inflation inflation rates. The Bank of England is keeping its interest rate at 5.25% for now, and it has been from January, Feb, and now March, and they're expected to drop from 5.25% to roughly about 3.75%. That's their projected, what they're thinking as of current filming in March. Along with this, we've seen that inflation has dropped to the lowest it's ever been in 2 years, which is a good sign. Basically, it seems like we're having a real uptick in the economy. We're starting to lower the interest rates, inflation is starting to come down, wages have had a big increase in the years previous, so we should start to see some of that start trickling into the economy, and we should see some of our money making more money. In the UK, our GDP has kind of stayed at kind of a subdued level as to what we would think it would have done, but the US is definitely staying strong, as again, it's going into election year, so it will probably do the same. Along with that, the wholesale energy prices have fallen as well, so overall it's looking pretty good for the consumer as a general market view. Material still remains at risk because of the trade between like the Red Sea area and the conflict that's happening there at the moment. This will cause some uncertainty in the market, along with, again, there's already things like Ukraine and stuff like that happening. But overall, the elections are in full swing this year. The overall market is seeming like it's recovering a little bit from these extreme inflation rates and interest rates as well. Crypto is going to be a massive one this year, I believe, and also the stock market will do relatively well if all goes planned. Crypto will have its best year in a long time this year, as it is a bull cycle, so I would recommend you take advantage of that in some way, capacity. And we've seen a lowering of interest rates and some other little things like that, which should move the levers in the right direction and start making your money work for you a little bit more than it has done previously. I think it doesn't make sense to have at least a little bit of your net worth in crypto, even if it's just a tiny 1 or 2% that you just pop in, just see what happens. And even if it does do 2 or 3 or 4x or whatever, you can take it out, and that's great for you. If you do want to get more into crypto, I've done a video already explaining everything you need to know, more about the cold storage, how to buy it, all that kind of stuff. I'll link that here. You should definitely go watch that video next.